Alright, Dolphins fans, it's your boy Dillon. I am back with you for another Dolphins with Dillon. This is my Dolphins vs. Titans recap video. So first of all, I'm going to start off by saying that I'm going to try and make this kind of quick because obviously the game went super long tonight. It's already kind of late. So I'm going to try and make this as quick as I can for you. But obviously some good news. We came away with the victory. Also too, you know, it was weird. It was a weird set of circumstances, a weird day. So getting into that before I actually go into the meat and potatoes of everything, there were two delays of the game for extended periods of time, one for about 2 hours, one for about an hour or so because of lightning in the area. So that already, you know, made the game kind of weird. Plus it was raining and stuff on and off all day, you know, so things were just strange. It was kind of hard to evaluate the game with the way that it was playing out. You know, one team would get momentum, then we had, you know, like we would get momentum, and then, you know, some weird thing would happen, and then we had this long delay, and then so it's like, okay, well, how's everybody going to react when we come back, you know, so on and so forth. So it was strange. But anyway, you know, obviously the big thing is we came away with the win. There's definitely some things that need to be worked on and improved upon, but there were definitely a lot of good things that we can take from this game. And as long as the team can continue to build, develop, and grow throughout the season, as long as they can keep getting better and better and better, I think that we'll be in really good shape come the end of the year, and I won't be, you know, too concerned with it. There was definitely some really good things out of this game. Obviously, I wish we could have just played the entire thing straight through and, you know, got a continuous picture of what's going on, how it's playing out, you know, allow the momentums to do what they do, you know, so on and so forth. But anyway, it is what it is. So go ahead, getting into it. First thing, obviously, the main thing is the Dolphins won by a score of 27-20. So obviously it definitely really wasn't, you know, like I predicted it was going to be, but, you know, that's okay. That is what it is. You know, we won, and that's the, you know, the big thing. But anyway, so we win by a score of 27-20. Total yards, we had 342, they had 336. So I mean, yeah, if you look at it, I mean, the score and all of the stats along the way basically say that we just kind of barely, you know, that we edged them out, that we were just a little bit better. So 342 to 336 total yards. We had 222 passing to their 220. We had 120 rushing yards to their 116. We had 5.9 yards per play to their 5. 0 fumbles for both team. No team fumbled the ball. We had 3 interceptions, so we took the ball away 3 times on interceptions. They took it twice. We were 20% on third down conversion rate, which was not good, obviously. We definitely need to work on that. That's an area for sure they need to pick up on and get better at, their third down rate. Because 20% is definitely not going to do it. It's not sustainable. Because they were, you know, they were at 42%. Time of possession was pretty even, though. We had it for 30 minutes, 25 seconds. They had it for 29 minutes, 35 seconds. We had 7 penalties. They had 5. So, you know, obviously, we definitely need to get some of those penalties also. You know, that definitely killed some drives, definitely earlier on. It was definitely frustrating a little bit, but I mean, it wasn't super terrible, and we were obviously able to overcome that, which is the most important thing. But we do need to clean that up, man. You know, Tunsil and James both got some penalties, you know, so I mean, that stuff needs to pick up and get cleaned up. So going into it, passing, for passing stats, Ryan Tannehill was 20 for 28, 230 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Marcus Mariota was 9 for 16, 103 yards, 0 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. He ended up leaving the game because he sustained an elbow injury. The Titans got pretty beat up. They were already beat up in this game. They lost Taylor Lewan as well. Who else did they lose? I'll get to it, so I'll mention it when I remember. So Blaine Gabbert comes in. He was 11 for 22 for 117 yards, 0 touchdowns, and 1 interception. And then going into the rushing leaders for the game, Frank Gore had 9 carries for 61 yards, 0 touchdowns with a 6.8 average, and Kenyon Drake had 14 carries for 48 yards, 0 touchdowns, and 3.4 average. For them, Dion Lewis had 16 carries, 75 yards, 1 touchdown, 4.7 average. Derrick Henry was 10 carries for 26 yards, 0 touchdowns, 2.6 average. And Marcus Mariota had 3 carries for 15 yards, 0 touchdowns, and a 5-yard average. And then moving into the receiving leaders for both teams. For us, it was Kenny Stills was 4 of 5 targets for 106 yards, 2 touchdowns. Jakeem Grant was 5 for 7 targets, 38 yards, 0 touchdowns. Albert Wilson was 3 for 4, 31 yards, no touchdowns. Danny Amendola 4 of 6 for 26 yards. Kenyon Drake 3 of 4 for 18 yards, and Mike Gesicki was 1 for 2 and 11 yards. Their leading receivers were Corey Davis, 6 for 13, 62 yards. Delaney Walker, that's who it was. Delaney Walker, 4 of 7 for 52 yards. He got injured as well. Adoree Jackson got injured momentarily, but he was back in pretty quick. But they did lose Delaney Walker possibly for the season. He may have dislocated and possibly fractured his ankle, which sucks. It was gross. It was nasty. We didn't like it. I feel really bad for him, for everybody who got hurt. Of course, you never want anybody to get hurt. You don't want to see anybody certainly get hurt bad. He could be out. He's certainly going to be out for a while. So that sucks. But anyway, like I said, he was 4 for 7, 52 yards. Luke Stalker, 2 for 2, 37 yards. And Dion Lewis was 5 for 8, 35 yards. Moving to the defensive leaders of the game, for us, it was Kiko Alonso. He had 6 solo, 0 assisted tackles, 1 interception for 1 yard, and 1 pass defense. TJ McDonald had 6 solo, 1 assisted. Rashad Jones had 4 solo, 3 assisted, 1 tackle for loss, 2 interceptions for 80 yards, and 2 passes defense. Bobby McCain, 2 solo, 0 assist with 2 pass defense, and Mika Fitzpatrick was 3 solo, 3 assists, 1 pass defended. For them, it was Wesley Woodyard was 7 solo, 5 assisted. Kenny Vaccaro, 4 solo, 1 assisted, 1 interception, 1 pass defense. Logan Ryan, 4 solo, 3 assisted. Malcolm Butler, 4 solo, 1 assisted, 1 tackle for loss, 1 interception for 34 yards, 2 passes defensed. Adoree Jackson was 4 solo, no assist. Kevin Byard, 3 solo, no assist with 1 pass defense. And so for the kickers, for the kicking for the game, Jason Sanders was 2 for 2 on field goals with a long of 30 and 3 for 3 on extra points. Ryan Suckup was 2 for 2 on field goals with a long of 53 and 2 for 2 on extra points. Punting stats, Matt Hawk was 4 attempts for 53.8 yard average, which is pretty solid. He didn't have any in the 20 because every time we were kind of backed up, closer to our end, so he didn't get any into the 20, but he had a long of 65. He was booting them for sure. Brett Kern, he had a couple of them that were like 65 yards. Brett Kern was 4 for 4 with a 44.8 average, but he had 4 in the 20 because they tended to be kicking more, towards midfield with a long of 55. Kickoff returns, Jakeem Grant had 2 with a 62.5 average, 1 touchdown with a long of 102. Darius Jennings on their side had 2 returns with a 60.5 average with 1 touchdown and a long of 94. Punt returns, Danny Amendola had 1 with a 2-yard average, 0 touchdowns with a long of 2. Jakeem Grant had 1 with a -1 average, long of -1, 0 touchdowns. Rashard Matthews had 1 with 18 average, 0 touchdowns, a long of 18. And Adoree Jackson had 1, a 26 average, 0 touchdowns, long of 26. Okay, so those are team and individual stats for you. Just kind of ran through that quick. So now I'm gonna kind of get into the play-by-play. I'm gonna go pretty fast through this. Just kind of briefly stop for a couple points because there were some good plays in there. So I'll talk about that a little bit. Real quick, before I get into this, though, I do want to say that, like I said, overall the officiating wasn't terrible. You know, there weren't too many penalties like the Eagles and Falcons game, man. There was just penalties everywhere with that. But I will say that there was some kind of crap calls on both sides. I'm fair about that. You know, I think on there was at least 1 or 2 calls that they should have called us on that they didn't. And then same thing for them. There was, you know, 1 or 2 crap calls called on us. But anyway, it is what it is. You know, you got to overcome that, and you got to, you know, make sure to try and reduce that as much as possible. It's not an excuse. But I just want to throw that out there. And I am fair about it. And I do, you know, bring that stuff up when it does happen because, you know, the officiating has been kind of crap in recent years. Anyway, moving on. So the game starts off, Jason Sanders kicks off. It's a 27-yard return to the Tennessee 35. Then they go on a 9-play drive starting at their 37 yards in 4 minutes and 42 seconds. The highlight of that was a 17-yard pass. And then Ryan Suckup ends up kicking a 47-yard field goal to make it 3-0 Titans. Ryan Suckup then kicks off. There's a return. It's returned 23 yards to the Miami 22. We go on a 4-play drive of 21 yards in 2 minutes 40 seconds. The highlight of that was lowlights of that was a 10-yard run by Kenyon Drake, and then Tunsil had a 5-yard penalty on him, a holding call, which ended up leading to a Matt Hawk 62-yard punt for a touchback. They go then on an 11-play drive starting on their 78 yards in 5 minutes 56 seconds with a 10-yard pass, a 17-yard pass, and a 31-yard pass in that time. They also then had but then they go turnover and down, so there was a 1-yard pass on 4th and goal at our 2-yard line. We held firm. It was a turnover and on downs, which was awesome. So then obviously we get the ball. We then go on a 12-play drive starting at our 88 yards in 5 minutes and 21 seconds. Early on, there was a Tennessee penalty, neutral zone infraction for 5 yards. Later on, Gore goes for a 10-yard run. Ryan Tannehill hits Jakeem Grant for an 8-yard pass. And then there was an unnecessary roughness penalty on Tennessee tacked on to the end of that, so an additional 15 yards. Then Tunsil ends up getting another holding penalty, minus 10 yards. Frank Gore then busts a 21-yard run. Ryan Tannehill then tosses a beautiful pass, which you will see right here. A beautiful pass to Kenny Stills, who, you know, dives in and gets it into the corner, on the inside of the pylon for a beautiful touchdown. Jason Sanders kicks the extra point. It's good. Makes it 7-3 Dolphins. Jason Sanders then kicks off. It's a touchback. They go on a 5-play drive starting on their 25, 15 yards in 3 minutes 10 seconds. They had a negative 5-yard run. We got good penetration. They had a 13-yard pass. Then there was a neutral zone infraction penalty on Robert Quinn, on us, for 5 yards. But then they ended up having to punt. So Brett Kern punts for 40 yards. It goes out of bounds at the Miami 15. We then go on an 11-play drive starting on our 15. We go 80 yards in 6 minutes and 17 seconds. Earlier on in the drive, there was a penalty on us, Juwan James, for 10 yards. Ryan Tannehill later on throws a 13-yard pass to Jakeem Grant. Kenyon Drake gets a 16-yard run. Tannehill throws a 21-yard pass to Albert Wilson. Kenyon Drake had a negative 1-yard run in there. They knocked him for a loss. And then we end up turning it over on downs. Incomplete pass on 4th and 1 on the Tennessee 15. They get the ball. They go on a 6-play drive starting at the Tennessee 15, 25 yards in 1:36 seconds. They ended up having a face mask penalty on that drive. They lost 13 yards. It stalls out. Brett Kern punts 55 yards. There was a negative 1-yard return to our 17-yard line. And then this was somewhere around when it was around like the 2-minute warning of the first half, and we end up having, an hour and 57-minute weather delay because of lightning in the area and stuff. So that was fun. That was a blast. Anyway, though, so we come back, then, you know, we have a one-play drive. Ryan Tannehill just kneels, ends the half, whatever. We come out, we won the coin toss, so we deferred. We end up getting the ball back after half, so we get the ball back here. Ryan Suckup kicks off. It's a touchback. We go on a 3-play drive, starting on our 25, 57 yards in a minute 28. We end up punting. Matt Hawk punts for 45 yards. It gets returned 26 to the Tennessee 49. So they start there and go 3 plays, 6 yards in a minute 27 seconds, 3 and out. They end up punting. Brett Kern punts 35 yards. It's a fair catch at the Miami 25 or 10, excuse me, at our 10-yard line. We then go 3 and out, starting on our 10, 8 yards in 2 minutes 7 seconds. The noticeable things there: Kenyon Drake got knocked down in the backfield for a negative 1-yard run. You know what, by the way, just so you know, I do put those things in there so you know that, like I said, I do like to kind of be fair in my evaluations of things. So they made good plays on us. We made good plays on them. We edged them out. We did, we did a little bit more than they did to secure the win. Anyway, Matt Hawk punts 65 yards. It's returned 18 yards to the Tennessee 35. They go on a 2-play drive starting on their 35, 4 yards and 54 seconds. That's because Rashad Jones has a nice interception. He had 2 for the game, but as you can see here, it was really beautiful. He returns it for 26 yards all the way back to the Tennessee 35. And then there was a bunch of offsetting taunting penalties at the end of this play, obviously because of both sides. But this is where Taylor Lewan gets injured, and I admit that they should have called a penalty on Andre Branch. Possibly, if they would have ejected him from the game, I wouldn't have liked it, but I could understand it because he did, crack back, block him, and knocked him out cold. Like he was, I mean, not to laugh because he got hurt, but I mean, Andre Branch laid this dude out for like a good few seconds there. He was gone to the world, and he ended up being all right, but he didn't end up playing for the rest of the game. So, obviously they probably want to make sure he's all right. He's probably in the concussion protocol, but anywho, so they should have called that penalty on Branch. But anyway, so it just ended up being a bunch of offsetting taunting penalties. Anyway, so then next is a 5-play drive starting on the Tennessee 35, 26 yards and 2 minutes 17 seconds. The highlights there was a Ryan Tannehill 11-yard pass to Mike Gesicki. He got his first real live NFL catch. But then, unfortunately, as you'll see in this little clip, Ryan Tannehill goes to throw a fade to Gesicki, and it ended up being an interception to Malcolm Butler. Everyone was saying that it was, Tannehill's fault. He should have threw it, more into the back of the end zone or whatever. Sure, he could have. Maybe it wouldn't have been an interception. But I think that the more troubling part of this play was that Gesicki ended up face first in the dirt. And, he slipped and came when he was coming out of his break. If he was on his feet and everything, he probably could have battled for the ball. Probably at worst, it would have been an incomplete pass. Possibly he could have even mossed Butler for a touchdown. But anyway, it is what it is. You saw the play. You can, figure out for yourself what you think, whose fault it was. But definitely wish we could get that one back. I think that is something we will see more of, though, down the line. The Tannehill to Gesicki connection in the red zone. And hopefully Parker comes back healthy for the next game, too, because I would like to be able to insert him in there and be able to use him hopefully as a weapon if he can, be healthy and do some stuff. Anywho, so moving on, they then go on a 1-play drive starting on their 33, 0 yards and 5 seconds, because as you will see here, Marcus Mariota goes to set up a screen, and when he throws the pass, it gets deflected off the receiver's hands. Kiko Alonso intercepts it, returns it for just a yard back to their 28-yard line. And then we then go on a 6-play drive, 19 yards in 2 minutes 37 seconds. Highlights of that was a 10-yard pass from Tannehill to Stills, and Frank Gore had a negative 3-yard run. Jason Sanders then kicks a 27-yard field goal, which is good to make it 10-3 Dolphins. Jason Sanders then kicks off, touchback. They go on a 9-play drive starting on their 25, 70 yards and 4:48. There was a Miami penalty, neutral zone infraction on Devon Gottschalk for 5 yards. They had a 26-yard run, negative 2-yard run, 16 and a 15-yard pass, and then a 4-yard touchdown pass with a Ryan Suckup extra point to make it 10-10. Ryan Suckup then kicks off, and as you will see here, our man Jakeem Grant once again takes the ball. He returns it 102 yards for a touchdown. He finds a crease, breaks through it, and then just puts on the Jets, puts on the burners, and leaves everybody behind. Jason Sanders extra point, 17-10. He then kicks off. It's a touchback. They go on a 6-play drive starting at their 25, 27 yards in 2 minutes, 25 seconds. They had a 13-yard pass, a negative 8-yard run. Brent Kern punts for 49 yards. It gets returned 2 yards to our 11. We then go on a 4-play drive, 89 yards in 1 minute, 17 seconds. Ryan Tannehill throws a 10-yard pass to Kenyon Drake. And then, as you see here, Ryan Tannehill throws a dime pass to Kenny Stills, 75 yards to the house. He takes the ball away. He puts it in the perfect spot. Malcolm Butler gets his hand in there, but it's not enough. Kenny Stills strong arms him, takes it to the house. Jason Sanders kicks the extra point, 24-10 Dolphins. Then Jason Sanders kicks off, and how's about it? Well, as you see here, it gets returned 94 yards for a touchdown, and by I think it's Darius Jennings. But as you see here, he splits us nice. He makes a couple guys miss, fall over, and just burns us for the 94-yard touchdown. Ryan Suckup then kicks the extra point, and then it is 24-17. Dolphins still lead. Ryan Suckup then kicks off. It's a touchback. We have a 3-play drive starting on hour 25, 6 yards in a minute 24. There was a penalty on Jawan James, holding penalty, minus 11 yards. Ryan Tannehill then is intercepted, throwing a pass intended to Jakeem Grant on the Tennessee 43-yard line. He kind of overthrew it. He overthrew it a little bit, and it got intercepted. So, I know he wished he could have had that one back, but it is what it is. Then they go on a 6-play drive starting on their 43, 16 yards in 2 minutes, 43 seconds. This is where Rashad Jones gets his second interception. It was nice. I think Blaine Gabbert was in at this point. As you see here, he throws it a little bit as you see in the clip, to the left of his receiver. He led him too much. Jones anticipates it. He focuses on the ball. He catches it. He gets up before he gets tagged down, and he runs it back 54 yards to the Tennessee 12. And then we have a 4-play drive. We go 0 yards in 2 minutes and 15 seconds. So unfortunately, we didn't capitalize on it with a touchdown. Kenyon Drake goes for a negative 3-yard run. Tannehill gets sacked, minus 8 yards. Then he connects to Kenny Stills for an 11-yard pass. It breaks even. Jason Sanders kicks a 30-yard field goal, 27-17. Then he kicks off. It's a touchback. They go on a 5-play drive starting at their 25, 18 yards in 42 seconds. 15-yard pass is the highlight of it. And then they throw an incomplete pass on 4th and 7 on their 43. We then go on a 3-play drive, 0 yards in 2 minutes. Kenyon Drake had a minus 3-yard run. Matt Hawk punts for 43 yards, touchback. They go 6 plays, starting on their 20 for 40 yards in 56 seconds. They had an 18, a 12, and a 10-yard pass. A penalty on us, too many men on the field for 5 yards. It was on Charles Harris. And then Ryan Suckup knocks in a 53-yard field goal to make it 27-20. And then at this point, the game's basically over. We get the ball back. It's a 1-play drive because Ryan Tannehill kneels the ball, and that carries us out, and we win our game. So Dolphins, we are now 1-0 on the season. It didn't happen quite like I was expecting, and there was a lot of weird, crazy things that happened. But as you can see, it turned out, ultimately it turned out well. We win. We got the victory. But as you can also see, there are definitely some things that need to be cleaned up. I have no doubts that Adam Gase and this coaching staff and this team is going to get in it. They are going to grind. We have the Jets next week. Next Sunday, we go up to their stadium, so we're away for that game. But I think that we have a very good chance of beating them. And that'll be huge. I mean, if we can start the season off 2-0 and then have our first divisional win, that'll be great. So let's get to that. But I do have the press conferences for you with Adam Gase, Ryan Tannehill, and Cameron Wake. Anyway, so with that said, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed the interview. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, share it with your friends, all that good stuff. I'll see you guys soon. Let's get excited. We have our first win of the season. Fins up.
Drop. Doesn't matter if they're chipping, whatever protection they're going, you got to continue to fight and get your job done. Like I said, if they're going to do that, I think that plays to our favor because we got guys in the back end who are going to come up and put the ball on the ground. So if it's a day like that, I think those guys, as you see, Rashad Jones and Kiko, those guys had a big day.
Minka made a big play at the goal line. He's been out there a lot. I watched him today, and you look at him, and he certainly doesn't look like he plays like a rookie. No,
he's definitely a tremendous asset. Like I said, we said to the guys who want to play, the rookies, that ended, when the training camp ended. We expect you to play at a high level. We expect you to play like, a veteran football player. And he went out there, he's making plays every time he's on the field, and he's getting better every day. So, I told him his first NFL game had to be the longest one in NFL history, but we got a W. So I think it was all worth it.
Cam, did you learn anything about this team today, or did it maybe solidify some things where you were maybe a little questionable?
No, not at all. I didn't have a doubt, really. I mean, I feel like, I've been around these guys since April, whatever day we started. And I kind of, I understood what the situation was going to be. It wasn't going to be more physical, especially at that point. I mean, literally 2 hours of breaks sitting in your locker, kind of restart. That's a mental thing, and you got to go out and snap back into it. Get back onto, hair on fire, blood boiling, get after it. Football game, and it was weird. There's no manual, but at the end of the day, when they say put the ball down, let's play. I never doubted that our guys would go out there and be able to do it.
What was it like to see 17, come out and play like he did in his first game back alone?
Well, I heard him say it as well. I mean, we've been chasing him around since April. He's been out there all the preseason, so it didn't really seem like his first game back, as it's probably portrayed. But obviously it's good to see him out there, delivering the ball, making plays. Obviously couldn't wait. It's been a while, long overdue. But again, I think on his return, he did a good job.
Thank you.
Able to finish in the end zone.
Right after the goal line stand, you guys drive down the field 98 yards. I think there were 6 first downs in it. You kind of ground the ball down there, got the ball. They got the ball for sure. Then you got it back and started driving again. Then the first rain delay came. Prior to that, were you seeing them worn out and tired? Because it was hot at that point. They'd been on the field, the defense, for a long time. Could you sense that they were loosening up and that things were really going your way?
Yeah, I think there was a couple points in the game when we were sustaining those drives where you could kind of feel, obviously, we had the momentum. You could feel the energy of the defense kind of let go a little bit. But they played us tough the whole game. I don't think it was ever a drastic drop off or they were completely gassed or anything like that. Obviously, they came in good shape and were able to play tough the whole game.
Talk about the interception to Gesicki, what you saw and what you tried to do.
Yeah, it was on me, completely on me. We had a one-on-one matchup there. And have to find a way to get him better football.
Your performance after coming out, you're able to run a little bit. You did a lot of things out there. Got hit a couple times. How do you feel about the way you played after the long layoff?
Yeah, I felt like I left a lot out there. There was a lot of plays that I want to have back. Had a lot of time in between the breaks to think about what had happened, and plays you want to have back where usually you don't really think about those till after the game. So that was kind of unique. But yeah, there's a lot of good things I think we did, and some things where, if you see a look again, then we should be able to take advantage of it.
Ryan, you guys in the red zone, obviously the point is to be aggressive there, but by going for the 4th and 1, the second play, and kind of just pedal to the metal, is that something that your personality and Adam's personality kind of plays into each other? How you guys want to run this offense?
Yeah, we want to get in the end zone. That's what we're down there for. You want to finish drives and put 7 points on the board. So we didn't do a good enough job of that tonight, or I guess today/tonight, because the game was so long. But yeah, we did some good things, even in the red zone. Within the red zone, we did some good things. We just have to be more consistent and be able to get those points when we're down there.
Did you feel like you were shaking off any rust out there, or were you, maybe not as sharp as you maybe could have been if you were playing maybe 6 games in, or not having such a layoff from regular season games that you've had? Yeah,
I don't know. Obviously, I wasn't as sharp as I'd like to be. Like I said, I think I left some plays out there, some plays I'd like to have back. Obviously, the turnovers, hate to see those. Those need to be cleaned up. But I felt come away from this long day, this grind of a game, and get a win. Feels good.
It seemed like that ball to Stills really ignited you guys. What did you see there, and what did that mean for your offense? Deep ball.
Yeah, we had a great play call there into the coverage. They played quarters for us, and Kenny was able to beat the corner on the outside. Had great protection, great pocket. Look at the picture on the sideline. It was a beautiful pocket. No one within 4 yards of me. As I delivered that football. So started up front. Then Kenny ran a great route, and I was able to get him the ball.
First game, I was going to say first game that counted for you. If I added it right, 637 days. Did you, before the game, during the game, during those 2-hour breaks, take a moment to reflect about how cool it is to be back?
Not really. I tried to stay in the present as much as I could. Obviously, probably tonight I'll reflect a little bit on that, on the grind that it was to get here. But someone asked me during the game, does it feel weird that you're back? I'm like, I was out here the whole preseason. I was throughout the whole training camp, so it didn't feel any different. So. But it was great to be back out here.
It seemed like last year was kind of a year of adversity. Just question how you guys respond. You guys had some lightning relay today. Did you think that was an example of how you guys bettered in that area?
Well, yeah, I think we responded today. It's tough to say exactly what we are as a team yet, but I love the way we responded. The way we overcame the delays, came out with energy, and were able to play with energy. After sitting in your locker for 2 hours and going out and playing. So both offense and defense, I thought, responded well to that adversity and the adversity within the game. Both sides faced a lot of adversity and just kept grinding, just kept sticking together and playing hard, and we were able to come out on top.
You have an element of speed on the offense you haven't had. A lot of guys are speed. You notice that? Is that more your saying that's a noticeable difference from last time you played?
Yeah, I don't know. It's tough to think back that far, but we do have a lot of speed, and I think that's an asset that our offense has. It's going to create problems for defenses throughout the year. You have probably 3-4 guys that are burners, so it's a lot of fun to play with them. We can do a lot of things with them, and you saw Kenny stretch the field. Obviously, Jakeem on the kickoff was running. Who knows how fast he was running? I could barely see the guy, but those are just a couple examples of the ways those guys can use their speed.
Ryan, a game like this, physically, do you feel any different after 7.5 hours? The sitting up and down, the stuff you were talking about?
I don't know. I'll tell you tomorrow morning. But felt all right. It did feel. I think it was tougher the second time because, like I said, the first time we were kind of in limbo the whole time. Hey, it's going to be whatever. I don't know what time it was at that point. 3:30. So you kind of get up, start getting loose. Then it was 4, so you sit down for a little while, then get up, start getting loose. The second time, they were, like I said, they said probably 7:30, then came in at 6:30 and said, hey, you're on in 10 minutes. So that one was a little tougher to get up and get going just because of the quick turnaround and how fast we had to be on the field. But like I said, I thought the guys responded well, came out, and played with energy, and that's what you want to see during that layoff.
How
How much easier is the load offensively for you when the run game is working efficiently?
Well, it's huge. Obviously, if you can run the football, then that opens up a lot of things for you. Helps you move the ball, helps you sustain drives, open up the play action for you. So, yeah, when you have the run game going for you, then it's going to open up other things. And I thought we did a good job, especially early in the game. You know, created some big runs. Frank did a great job. Great to see. You know, Frank get some carries in. You know, didn't really see much of him in the preseason. So, really fun to see him work and get the ball downfield.
And play the couple times that you had to do it.
I thought guys did a good job of transitioning from when we came in. They knew we had some time. You know, guys being able to just take their shoulder pads off, just trying to get up every once in a while, move around. You know, as guys stayed, you know, they were hanging out and stayed engaged, and we're talking about the game. So, I mean, it was a lot of time to burn.
Certainly big plays. Let me go back pre the first stop stoppage of time. And they're moving the ball down the field. They go for it on fourth down. Minka comes up and makes a big play to keep him out in the end zone. And then you're able to go 98 yards and put it in the end zone. It speaks a lot for your football team being able to make that turnaround.
Yeah, it was good to see that we actually played off each other. That was the one time we did. You know, we need to take more, you know, offensively take advantage of when our defense puts us in scoring position. We didn't do that very, very well, except for that one where, you know, they had to stop and we actually score on it. So we got a lot of room for improvement, you know, but that's what the whole exercise is about.
Talk about Ryan Tannehill, what you saw to him, his performance coming back for the first time after a year and a half away.
I thought he was good. You know, we had it rolling there for a little bit, and you know, we'll clean up some of the turnovers and maybe some of the mistakes. You know, he didn't make too many, so. It was good to see him back out there, and got knocked around a little bit, but you know, he did a good job of bouncing right back up.
Did a couple of big plays from Kenny Stills, but Rashad with his interceptions really changed the course of the game for you. I think at key times in this football game.
Yeah, I mean that's why he's a Pro Bowler. You know, he seems to make the timely play. You know, and he made a couple of them tonight. He made some big hits. You know, and they had their run game going a little bit, and he made a really good play to where he jumped in the hole there and had a really good tackle. And you know, it's good to see, you know, our better players really stepping up in those key moments.
Do you guys need to really
Yeah.
Did they change?
No.
Shower?
I don't know. I wasn't watching. We were working on our game plan stuff, trying to figure out kind of like what our next step was. You know, a lot of conversations, sat around with the rest of those guys. I mean, just talking ball.
What was your communication with the league or officials or anything? Like, what was that?
No, I had none. Somebody would run down and tell me. I just figured when they'd tell me 10 minutes before we were going out, and we'd be ready to go.
As a coach, you prepare for any situation, but did you ever in the back of your mind think something crazy is today?
I mean, I won't be surprised by anything. I think we're almost covered everything.
Does that help you or hurt you? Could it have been better if that was?
I don't know. We won, and we got a lot of things we got to improve on. We know that, but you know, that was a team that was in the playoffs last year, and you know, that's, you know, we knew they were going to be a tough opponent, even though we're home. We played like it was the first game of the year. You know, we had some mistakes that we're going to go back and say this can't happen anymore, and we'll improve from here.
Coach, you young rookies, from what you've seen, what you saw from where you were, how do you think they handled themselves?
I felt like they were all very loose before we started the game. It seemed like everybody was playing fast. You know, it's going to really probably take some time to just kind of see how everybody fits in and really what their roles become. I mean, we got an idea, but I don't think we really gotten as good of a flow offensively as we wanted to. And defensively, I think the young guys did a good job. It seemed like they were around the ball quite a bit.
Did you expect to have more opportunities for Mike Gesicki, or was it about what you expected?
I don't want to say it's probably not what I expected, but it was just kind of how the game went.
How would you describe the chemistry between Tannehill and Stills picking back up again?
Well, that's just that's trust. Those two guys trust each other. They work a lot. You know, Ryan and him always seem to spend extra time. You know, Kenny and him really do a good job of, you know, using kind of that downtime when we're going scout team with the defense, and they work on certain routes. And it seems like that one they got down pretty good. And you know, that was one of those plays where it was the right coverage versus what we ran, and they made a good play together.
Did you realize pretty quickly that Jiggy was gone?
Yeah, I was standing. He was coming at my direction. I just saw it was him and the kicker. It was just going, just please run by him.
So you see Ryan almost every day. It's different than what people here haven't seen him for 600 days. Is what they saw Ryan you've been seeing for the last 600 days, or that difference?
As far as what?
Performance.
I mean, I think it's been a steady climb for him. You know, since we got in here and where he's at now, where he has more control of the offense, there's still some things that we want to clean up. You know, I know he's going to be mad at a few decisions he made where might have had some better plays, and that happens. That's part of playing the position. And the longer you play and the more times you get in those situations and you don't make the same mistake twice, that's when you really start having good things happen. And now instead of 2 touchdowns, you have 4 or 5. So, you know, I think there's a lot of good things that are going to come out of this game, and you know, we'll just keep trying to find ways to get better.
Coach, keep your attitude and Brian's kind of enthusiasm with knowing this playbook and leading the offense. Does that lead to you guys, you know, trying to go for 4th and 1 and trying to attack with those long passes downfield?
Well, the 4th and 1, we've been talking about it really since the spring, that when we get in those situations that, you know, if we feel like it's going to be the right coverage versus what we're going to call, we're going to go for it. And we felt like that was one of those situations, and it didn't work out. But, you know, we got confidence that our defense is going to try to find a way to stop them and keep them pinned back there. And, you know, that's just kind of the flow of the game. You have a good feel. You just know where you're at. I felt like the defense was in a good place at that time. You know, if it would have been a different situation, if I would have had a different feel, maybe I would have kicked the field goal. But at that time, the defensive guys, I could tell they wanted us to go for it. They wanted us to try to really, you know, pop one there or maybe score a couple plays later.
That's probably because of Frank for that long run.
Yeah, it just seemed like we had some momentum going there, and you know, it didn't work out this time, but you know, we'll keep attacking.
Is that the recipe for you?
Yeah, I think that's always been the recipe. It's just, you know, it's got to be the right situation.
You kicked off 7.5 hours ago. How do you feel right now?
I'm ready to go home. You guys stop asking questions.
All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed the interviews. I hope you enjoyed the show. And as always, if you did, please hit the subscribe button, you know, share it with your friends, post on Facebook, you know, whatever, hit the like button, and definitely leave me some comments, questions, concerns, anything you'd like to see or hear in the videos, you know, stuff like that. So definitely let me know. And of course, the most important thing is subscribe. So with that said, I'll see you guys soon, and fins up.